How's it going?
That was awesome.
Yes.
That was awesome. That is another good one.
Thank you, Phil.
Absolutely. And everybody else, welcome to Talk Heathen. This is Season 2, Episode 9. How's it going, Jamie?
Marvelously. How's it going, Eric?
But that's okay.
Well,
that's okay.
okay.
I'm here. This is my favorite part of the week.
My
I get
mic
to see
was
all
muted
of you.
that
I get to see
entire
you.
time.
That makes me happy. We should meet you more often. All right.
Hey.
So,
All right.
how was your week, Jamie? Oh, I just asked that. Anything else? Yes.
Wait, did
are.
you? What's happening? Who's good? What?
I've got the.
I don't know, third base?
I've got the GoFundMe up.
Yes.
You guys have been amazing. Oh my
GoFundMe.
goodness. I feel so bad that
We haven't done anything more.
I know.
If we
need
make
to
it-
find
okay,
something
here's
awesome
what I'm
to
gonna
do
say.
for the fans.
Impossible challenge. If we make it to 5,000, if we get 2,000 before the atheist experience, I will make Eric learn how to twerk on camera, and we'll do it.
I'd rather not.
$2,000
No,
in a couple of hours?
I'd actually rather us have the AXP help us.
Twerk. Twerk.
But right now we're at 3,000 out of 5,000. You're all amazing. Thank you so much.
You'll
We're
thank
past
me.
halfway, but we still need to get there. So if you got a couple bucks that you're willing to toss our way, we'd really, really appreciate it. The fundraiser, just so you know, is so that we can go live.
To AACon 18.
What's up? We're gonna be we're gonna be live on the main stage on Friday from noon until 2. And for those of you who are gonna be there, we're really excited to see you there.
Yep. And maybe we'll even let the hosts of the Atheist Experience be live for one of those 2 hours. Maybe.
Oh, AXP's on there too, huh?
Yeah, we have
well,
to share. We'll give them like 10
that's
minutes.
okay.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
right? I know.
We're kind of a big deal, so.
Speaking of kind of a big deal, before we do move on to callers, I've been working on the website a little bit.
Ooh.
And so,
Is it
well,
is it because it's linked on the American
maybe.
Atheist website?
Maybe.
You were like, oh my God, how
made-
many hits are we going to get?
I know, right? I made like 2 posts. One of them is a Hamish poll for people who can decide whether or not they want us to take calls from Hamish. So
You have a
we'll see
poll
how
on
that
the
goes.
thing?
I did. I
How
put a
many
poll up.
times can I vote?
One time, Jamie. One time.
But I'm the supreme commander.
You are the commander of something.
Did it? Well, okay,
So,
whatever. Inside jokes don't work on it.
Yeah, opening banter through. I think we should get to some calls. We have caller Adam
That's
who doesn't
true.
have much time to talk.
Oh, that's why you wanted to, yeah.
Yeah.
1,
we
2, 3,
ready?
go.
Adam in Salem. How's
You're
it going?
on with Eric and Jamie. We didn't introduce ourselves.
We didn't?
No.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I didn't mean to rush you at all.
Hey,
Oh,
Adam.
no, you're fine. Eric does that on his own.
That's all right. People don't like the opening banter anyway. And
That's true.
oh, I didn't even get to mention I'm wearing a green shirt and it's driving our video people crazy. And I couldn't
It's
change
a little
it. So.
speckly.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it looks all.
That's gonna be really hard
funky.
to see off of them.
Yeah.
Oh.
So if this goes blank, if this goes green, it's because they've decided to punish us.
Please don't.
They've decided to punish Eric for wearing green.
Sorry.
Every day is inverse St. Patrick's Day here.
So,
Wait,
Adam,
is St. Patrick's Day a Sunday? Never mind. Adam, what's up?
what do you want to talk about today?
Yes, well, I want everyone to know that I'm a very open person to all people, and especially if somebody tells me I've said something that offends them, I would never say that again. But with that said, I think we have to look at words, and this is a deep discussion I think the skeptic community has been knee-deep in, and I can give you my argument and kind of lay it out there really quickly if you want.
Okay.
When you say
so-
words, can you clarify what you mean
Yeah.
for the audience that doesn't get to read our notes?
Well, I think lately there's been a talk on, it kind of gets to ableism. And I do think there's a problem with ableism, especially, we should treat others as equals. We shouldn't treat people who maybe have issues with certain things in our society due to birth. I feel so like I'm walking on tacks right now with everything I'm about to say, because I believe they're equals. If someone is in a wheelchair, that doesn't make them any less of a person. They're just living a different life than I am.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so I think what...
Are you worried that you're going to
like-
jump into the I'm not racist, but type of thing.
Oh, no.
Don't worry, you're not a racist,
I
but
feel like I'll say one word that will just be taken the wrong way. And
if it's the N-word, don't do it.
Yeah, no.
Oh, no.
No.
But I feel like now the D word and the S word, and what this is my argument is,
Sure.
There's the word geek, and I call myself a geek, but I'm pretty sure geek comes from the chicken head biter in the circus.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah, that was a specific...
Did he collect action figures?
That was a specific act, not in the carnival itself, but in what was called at the time freak shows. So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so the word geek now has taken on a new meaning, and I do think I personally would never use the word retarded, because at least to me, that still means today that somebody has a learning disability, and I don't think it's proper to use that. But I think when we get into the words like slow or dumb, like if I'm having a morning and let's say I'm halfway through my workday and I haven't drank my coffee and I forgot to eat lunch and I'm just going all kinds of slow, and I say to someone, I'm just slow today, my brain's not at full capacity, and I've felt that way some days. I don't mean any offense by that, and I think they understand what I'm communicating to them is that
Sure.
I'm not firing on with all my cylinders today. I'm at a lower capacity, and so I think we've reached. Sometimes in the skeptic community, I've seen people get really offended by words like slow or I feel dumb today. Like your brain's not firing on all cylinders, and it's not to disparage anybody. I don't know your thoughts on that.
So I want to start by saying that you are bringing up a topic that could literally kill us. because it does matter, and it matters.
Muhammad,
and it matters to a lot of
him.
people. So I guess first off, what I want to say is, I've worked in special ed for a long time. My mother was a special ed teacher, so that in that way does matter to me a lot. With that said, I don't know. Because it means different things for different people. I mean, do I want to create an environment that's open and welcoming to people of all types and from all places? Absolutely. Do I want to hamper conversations? No, because I think that we need to have them. Where I lie on it, it's not going to make people happy, but I can't pin down a single place that I'm at. I know that context means a lot, and I know that some people are going to be upset. I'll give you an example that I probably wasn't going to bring up on air, but I'll bring it up. We got an email this last week from somebody who said, I can't watch anymore because there was a comment from Hamish last week that upset me so much that I cannot listen. It upsets me. And that really made me sad. But at the same time, when I thought about it, I thought this is the kind of show that is safe to be able to have those conversations. We can have those really uncomfortable conversations that, I mean, we anticipate that there are listeners.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, we anticipate that there are listeners who are not in a position where they can have these conversations. And so for us to be able to interact and do that and give people that cathartic release, that's what we're here for.
But we want to, well, sorry.
No, that's what we're here for. And so my response, I had so much trouble. I wrote a response and then deleted it and wrote a response and then deleted it because I didn't know exactly how to respond, because I wanted to say, you're safe here to listen to this, but if this is something that upsets you so much, then this isn't the place, maybe this isn't the show for you. But at the same time, I never want this to be unwelcoming. So what a weird place to be. I'm at this super uncomfortable, I don't know, and I'm going to continue to work on it because I still think it's intellectually honest to be able to say I don't know. And so that's where I'm at.
I couldn't agree more. And I think what we need to do is we need to listen to people. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll
Oh, no, I just mean,
so go ahead.
I mean, just as far as the show goes, obviously we can't control exactly what a caller is going to say. Obviously, if you figure out that someone's a troll, particularly through the screening process, don't get on our show. Make your own show where you call in and say dumb stuff to yourself. I might watch that video. That sounds like it could be entertaining. But as far as sort of language and people, I think I know the comment that you're talking about, Eric, the kind of contentious issues that come up. For example, if there's a person who doesn't like being told that they're going to hell for not believing, that one's going to come up on our show a whole bunch, right? Obviously, it's not going to come up on this call because you're a non-believer. Presumably, you don't think we're going to hell, right? Like, I don't really know how you twist that one around.
So.
Yeah, assumptions. But you believe in hell, but not God. Believe in things you don't understand. Superstitious man.
Everyone goes to hell in my book, so it's all right.
Yeah, whereabouts is hell, Texas?
Sarcasm.
But no. So we want to be able to provide a space where people can call in and communities online, but we can't stop callers from saying that we have no morals and that, the vegans are going to attack and they're justified in burning our houses or whatever. No one said that yet. For whatever reason, I always think people are going to threaten me with arson. I don't know.
I think the biggest thing is to listen to people and to go to the communities, because I'm very fortunate. I am a very able-bodied person, and to listen to the communities and how they feel. And so that's what I try to do. And I fear sometimes, and I understand I'm sure there are people who are very offended by certain things, and I want to understand and know why they're offended and not offend them. And I will always make those exceptions for people. And if it becomes that the words in society are certain ways that, like if I were to say geek and someone said, "Why are you calling me a chicken head biter?" I'd say, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that." And they'd say, "Yeah, everyone uses that word this way now." And I'd say, "Oh, well, I'm not going to say geek anymore. I'm going to say nerd." And hopefully that keeps with the connotation I believe it has, where,
Agreed.
Hey, I like to play video games and watch cartoons.
Yeah, how tied are we to etymology, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a geek versus nerd debate, so you may have sparked something just now.
I just made it
You
worse.
may have offended me, sir, with that comparison. I challenge you to fisticuffs.
So
but no, it's
I
difficult.
appreciate you guys saying I don't know and being open to this, and thank you for your time today.
Yeah,
Hey, we appreciate
I agree with your approach, right? But also, I give respect to individuals.
Yeah,
But
and
over anything else. There are friends of mine that like to be called things that I wouldn't say publicly under literally any other circumstances at all. So,
and it's in well, actually, I'm going to close it afterward. But Adam, thank you for calling, and you know how to get a hold of us, right?
yeah. Oh, he is gone.
Oh, well, that's fine. Then I'll just close out now.
Yeah. Wait, the show's not over.
No, I
okay.
have a closing statement before we get to the next
freaking
call.
me out here.
No. So what I wanted to say was, see, now I lost it. You completely threw me off. That's okay. Let's move to the next call.
I wasn't even trying this time.
Sophia in New York, you're live with Eric and Jamie. How's it going?
Hey!
Hey!
Hey.
What'd you want to talk about?
I guess what I really wanted to talk about was how to feel less isolated as a non-believer.
Yeah. Are you in a community where you don't have a lot of contact with other atheists?
I was going to sarcastically answer, find other non-believers.
Yeah, don't. Go ahead.
I'm in a pretty rural community. I have always lived in rural communities. I guess I mean more in groups, though. For instance, like, when you start critically thinking about things, you can't be as dogmatic.
Yeah.
So no one political party would represent me. And no, most organizations won't completely, I can't believe their entire creed, for instance. So it keeps me feeling, I feel really isolated from everyone else.
I completely feel you. When I came out to the atheist community of Austin, and I was around other people, and it wasn't me just trying to say, this is a thing I care about to other people that I cared about, but it was people who genuinely cared about what I cared about directly. I wept. When I first talked to hosts of the Atheist Experience live, I told them that I listened to your show as a podcast for 8 years before I moved out here. And that was the time of the week when I didn't feel alone. Sophia, I feel you. And there are a couple really great resources that I want to give you. The first, that was loud.
All right.
The first is Recovering from Religion Foundation. Call the Hotline Project. I can get that number for you in just a second.
Yeah, I'll find it.
Thank you. They're awesome. They're really, really awesome, and they have really awesome connections with so many small atheist groups and communities that they can help you out there. And I know that one way that I felt like I was connected was when I volunteered. You can actually be a part of the Hotline Project. You can be a part of our Facebook group. You can be a part of, interacting with us. And we want to try and provide as much of that as possible because there aren't always times when you can, So I'm glad you called.
We have the peer support hotline if you'd like, Sophia. I mean, it's Googleable, but we have it for you right here, right now, if you'd like. Hello?
Sophia?
Hello. Sorry, I'm still listening.
Oh, okay. Did you hear the last part of what we said?
Google the resources that you have and the Hotline Project.
Yeah, I have the number for you right now if you'd like it, but and the email. I'm sorry, the web page and good wishes. I also have those for you.
Go ahead.
No prayers, but having them or not doesn't make a difference. All right. So, are you ready for the phone number at all? Or
Yes.
okay. So it's 1-844-368-2848.
And that should be 184. I doubt it.
I
did not know.
I
Kind of
don't
amazing,
doubt it. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you mind emailing into us? We'd love to be able to keep in contact with you and introduce you to other people who can connect with you too.
I actually have emailed you all before, but I emailed specifically about my roommate.
Yeah. I responded to that. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I'm glad you remembered.
Yeah. You're famous. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
So, you were talking to your roommate, I think, about broaching non-belief, right? And how to talk about that.
Yeah. I emailed you again, but I'll summarize it here. Essentially, he tries to use the placebo effect to prove that prayer is effective. So I don't even know where to begin with that.
Well, the placebo effect is effective. And if he's going at the rate that the placebo effect is effective, he's not wrong. He's just very misguided.
It's not wrong that the placebo effect exists.
Yeah.
Why is he calling it a god or prayer? I don't know. If you are interested in engaging with him or if you're interested in engaging with your roommate, I think you said him, but I wasn't sure, and you want to do so in a way that's not gonna perhaps lead to fights, at least not the way that they end up on this show or the Atheist Experience, I have a book recommendation, and if you watch the show, you've heard me say a manual for creating atheists a whole bunch. There's an app that goes with it, and Anthony Magnabosco does a show, although now I'm promoting another. Well, he's a friend of ours.
I'm super cool with promoting Anthony Magnabosco.
Yeah, Anthony's
it's
awesome.
amazing.
He's We need to have. Are we going to have him on the show before the?
I'm
Well-
not sure anymore. It's getting close. But what I do want
yeah.
to actually, while we're
Sophia,
plugging,
how we? Did you have any additional questions? I mean, anything else that we want to get to that's different from what we've talked about so far? That was a smooth question.
I guess I just wanted to add a comment, really, not a question, but I remember watching the Atheist Experience when I was like 12, 13, and as much as I enjoy it now, since I was still a Christian at the time, I was like, I can't argue, with what you're saying, but it just really pisses me off how you're saying it. So I'm glad that I guess you all are the calmer alternative and creating a show specifically to have conversations with theists.
ooh,
Yeah.
Sophia, whatever that was, please don't do that one.
I actually have to go, but
okay. You take
Right.
care.
talking to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you for calling in, and reach out to us on all of the social medias.
Yeah. So you take care. And actually, before we move forward,
Yeah. I would.
you want to plug all of our social media?
Oh, I was gonna say something about the.
No, go.
Okay. Well, now I've forgotten.
See, it's
This is how
terrible,
this is
isn't
how
it? That's
you
how I feel
feel
all the time.
Ah.
Okay, so
Taste
then
of
in the
my
meantime,
own
I am
medicine,
going
it
to
is sour. Sorry.
put a couple things up. So first is you can get in touch with us by mail at talkheathen.com. You can check out our website, www.talkheathen.com. You can get in touch with us on Facebook at Talk Heathen. Our YouTube channel, which you're watching right now, is youtube.com/talkheathen. You can get a hold of us on Twitter at
Reason_evidence, or at least me until he gets one.
I
You can look at his beautiful face on Instagram.
Eric
at
the Heathen.
Eric the Heathen.
And you can see Jamie at Jamie the Heathen.
Those are even. And if you want to go to our Reddit, it's reddit.com/r/ you guessed it, Talk Heathen.
Yep.
Jinx.
Definitely get in touch. We would love to talk to you. I am making changes to the website, so if you have any suggestions, mail in and let me know, because I want to make it something that we can all watch together. Outside of
He's
that,
making big changes.
Are we ready?
What are we dealing with?
Joseph in Cedar Hills. Are we ready?
Okay.
Okay. Joseph in Cedar Hills. You're
How
talking
you
to Eric
doing?
and Jamie.
Hey.
How's it going?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, doing
We're having
all right.
a show.
Before
Can y'all hear me?
we
Yeah,
can
we
hear
can
you.
hear you.
Joseph, before we go in to the conversation, I do want to let everybody else know that we are low on calls. So call in if you have something to talk about. You can call us 1-512-686-0279. If you want to see content, you got to call in. All right, go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
come
Joseph.
on, guys. Let's
Right.
call in. Don't be scared.
We don't bite much.
Bring it, punks
Well,
and friends.
but the reason why I wanted to call was I wanted to share like a story about how we found out. Well, let me just give you some backstory here.
Sure.
I'm Mexican American,
So,
and my parents were born in Mexico. I was born here, and within Mexican culture, there's a lot of, well, for the lack of a better term, bullshit that we believe in that is collectively accepted.
Your words, not mine.
Yeah, like witch doctors, fucking
Santeria.
shamans, yeah,
Doctors,
brujeria.
oh man, don't get me started. When I was a kid, La Llorona scared the crap out of me. And the cucuy,
Cucuy, dude.
the cucuy. Yeah, that was terrifying. Why would you do that to a child? It's so for everybody else who does not know what I'm talking about, it's a boogeyman. And the cucuy was bad, but for me, the worst was La Llorona, because La Llorona, it was a ghost that was going to steal kids because she murdered her. It was just this whole thing, and it just scared the heck out of me.
They never taught me that as a kid, but you know,
No?
it is what it is. People
Lucky
have
you.
different shit.
Fair enough.
But,
And different
but
ways.
Go
anyway,
ahead.
like I was saying, well, my mom, she was having like some serious. I'm just gonna be blunt. She was having very serious like menstruation problems, like very bad,
It happens.
and it was so bad. Like she couldn't sit down at all. Like, it would just, you know. But anyway, we were fucking having a lot of time trying to find out where we could get, like, some kind of cure. And we went to a woman's health clinic, and they gave her hormones, which made it worse.
Yeah.
And word got around that, hey, there's a witch doctor out in, I live in the Dallas area. There's a witch doctor in Oak Cliff, which is like a ghetto-ass part. And, like, he can cure you for, you know, a nominal fee.
Best place to find witch doctors, right? Trailer parks.
Yeah, exactly. And basically, when I caught wind of this, it was like maybe around 2013. I was like a couple years into being an atheist, and I was kind of adamant at that point, like right out of the gate. I was like, oh, hell no, you are not going to a fucking witch doctor. You are not. And I remember we got into this huge argument of, no, it's because this and that and this and that. And it all ended with, well, we don't care what you think. We're going to go. And after that, she went to the witch doctor, came back. She was fine, you know, because placebo effect. And I remember that same day they were like, hey, why don't you go? Why don't you go? You're not going to waste time and all that. And I was like, no, why would I want to do that? And eventually I went, but that's, I'll tell that on the side. But, well, 2 days later, my mother was in severe pain. She was like hurting. Her stomach was hurting. I remember she stood up a little bit and fell back on the bed. It was that fucking painful. And the worst part about it is we had to rush. My dad had to like haul ass to the fucking ER. And what they found out was that she needed an emergency hysterectomy. And because she had, and I'm not kidding here, she had tumors on her ovaries the size of mangoes. Yeah, I'm not kidding on that.
Tough woman.
I remember when they gave us the news, I was saying in my mind, I told you this was bullshit. I told you. And, well, she got an emergency hysterectomy and everything, and she came out fine. And
glad to hear.
What had happened...
Good.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate
Seriously.
it.
Yeah.
But the icing on the cake of all this was during the days where she was in the hospital and we were waiting for her to be, you know, recuperated and everything. And, well, we were trying to get our mind off, you know, the recuperation process. And we wanted to have a little barbecue just to get our mind off of the thing. So we had it. Monday came along. I work with my dad. We drive to work. And during that whole trip, he was quiet the entire time, just silent, didn't say a word. Tried to do small talk, didn't reciprocate, nothing. So we get to work, and I'm in the parking lot, and I'm about to go inside. And before I leave, he goes, you know what? You're right. And I go, what do you mean? He's like, you're right. I was like, but what are you talking about? He's like, you're right about the curandero, the witch doctor, the brujo, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, because when I went to go out to buy the carne, the carne asada at the store, I saw him paying for his groceries. And when I saw him, he was at the cashier ready to pay. And when he took out of his pocket, when I saw him reach into his pocket, he pulled out a huge wad of hundreds and 50s and 20s. And when I saw that, mijo, I fucking thought to myself, you sorry motherfucker, you lied to me. And I remember when he told me that, and I was like, what'd I tell you? What did I tell you?
Yeah.
And, yeah, he had to learn the hard way. We had to go to the hospital to learn that those fuckers are liars. And, yeah.
Well, I mean, the good news is that your mom was able to survive through that. And we're really happy to hear that. There are a lot of people who are not so lucky.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the fucked up part, man. That fucks me up a lot. Like, they rely, like these witch doctors, these curanderos, that's what they're called. Mm-hmm. They rely on the anecdotes. And I always see every time you turn on Univision or Telemundo or whatever, I
Yep.
always see their little ads of, oh, my tia, she got cured of a tumor and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, if they really cure people, why aren't they going to the hospitals? They'd be making a killing.
Well, yeah, and realistically, if you have the power to magically heal somebody, then anything you're doing other than magically healing people is unethical. You have a moral obligation to do that for free to as many people as you can.
What messes me up more is that the Latino culture parades this stuff as if it's a fucking, I don't know what to say. It's mind-boggling how dumb that is.
Yeah.
Like I don't get it, man. It's frustrating.
I completely agree. Do you have anything you wanted to add, Jenny?
I mean, I'm trying not to say the phrase in defense of Latino culture right now while I'm speaking to two people who were raised in it, and I was raised in Austin, Texas.
I honestly don't care.
Face.
Have your own opinion. That's fine.
There's lots of cultures with a bunch of dumb shit that they believe. Also, apparently horoscopes are coming back as a thing. But yeah, I mean, there's a tendency to believe dumb shit.
I should never have queued you up for that. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I haven't gotten to talk all blur. It's
Before I forget, just to give you the level of money that we actually paid, I think I told my little brother about this because he was around trying to help them.
Oh, hang on.
And they went 2 sessions. There was 2 sessions for my mom. And basically, I think they paid a grand total of like $1,000, $500 each session.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they gotta charge you a whole bunch because they suspect that you're not gonna last that long if you're using their treatment. Well, some of them believe their own snake oil, but
when I went, go ahead.
I don't know why I'm throwing out other cultures and defending Latino culture. I don't know. Not that there's any shit. Now,
I'm going to shut you down right now.
Well,
Joseph,
no,
go ahead.
Indian culture is also full of lots of that. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But in a different.
When I had to go to the witch doctor, the whole ritual was kind of weird. Like first off, like he's a witch doctor, but he's using the Bible. Like, okay, I don't know. There's a thing called cognitive dissonance. I don't know. It's a little weird there, but anyway, what he did was like he took a note card, he coated it with like olive oil, virgin olive oil. I don't know. I don't care, but he lit a candle, one of those weird Jesus-y candles, you know.
Oh yeah,
and,
the votives.
Yeah. Basically, he took the little note card, he wafted it over the flame, and he was just wafting it and everything. And then he took it off, and then he was like, he showed it to me, and there were like 3 darker burn marks, and he was like, there are 3 people bothering you in your life. And I was just like, okay, let's figure this out. And I didn't come up with anyone. I was like, my mom, my dad, and my brother. I was like, but wait a minute, I didn't need a freaking psychic to tell me that.
Yeah.
And basically, like, I then was like, wait a minute, why am I entertaining this shit? Like, and I was like, but wait, sir, if you're like a clairvoyant, shouldn't you know? And he was just like, well, it's because I need clues. And I was just like, but why do you need clues? And then we just debated like for 10 minutes back and forth. Yeah. And I was like, but you're a witch doctor and you're using the Bible. And he's just like, well, the Bible is a double-bladed sword and blah, 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 you know. And I was just like, you know what, this is a waste of time. And my dad had to cut it short. He was like, I'm sorry, senor, it's just, he doesn't buy it. I'm sorry. I was just like, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason that the tendency to buy into it exists is that being a psychic wasn't invented overnight. There's like a lengthy tradition of, I'm going to say charlatans, but some people actually believe that they can read your future with tarot cards and whatever. But the techniques that are used for fortune telling are not, entirely made up. They exist in that way because they are effective and allow you to take people's money and tell them things that ooh, how did you know that, right?
And you know, so in my experience, there are people who are just terrible. They're just absolutely terrible. But then there are also people who believe their own stuff. They drink their own Kool-Aid. And it's interesting how that can settle in. There are legitimately people that I've known in my personal life who think that they can read the future with cards. And so much so that it disturbs and scares them and has turned into this really wild kind of thing. And I don't fault them. I fault the reasoning that it took to get there. You know, we talk about being a skeptic. We talk about wanting evidence and wanting to be able to find causal links to things. And not everybody does that. And
not everyone is like capable of actually trying to understand certain like things.
Yeah. So the curandero, it sounds like he knew what he was doing. I definitely know somebody who has gone and done psychic surgery. For those of you who don't know psychic surgery, write that down, look it up. It's amazing.
James Randi did a
yes, he
debunk
did.
of that. Yeah.
Yes, he did.
James Randi's great.
So I feel you. I'm glad you called in because it's something that we should talk about more often, and that is that while your mom got through because she went and got help from the hospital, she might have gotten help sooner if she'd have gone to a hospital instead of going to the curandero. And there are a lot of people who don't go and are hurt, and those are real, tangible results. I mean, that is what happens. People say, oh, well, what does it matter if I go and get Reiki? What does it matter if I go and get acupuncture? I'm not hurting anybody. Well, yeah, actually, you're helping to validate a system that is not true. And by validating that system...
And plus, you're ignoring the problem.
And giving money to someone that is going to hurt people.
And
yeah, exactly.
And
sorry for cutting it off.
No, that's okay. He does it all the time. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm under my quota for this far in the show.
He is.
Actually.
No, seriously, I'm just going to give it to him for the next couple.
I've been super nice.
You have been really good.
By my standards. Yeah, this is ridiculous.
But
not now.
God, I hate you.
It's like this guy.
By continuing to go to those things, what people are doing is they are adding authority to something that can lead to people who actually do have real big issues, thinking that they can go to that instead of getting the therapy that they need. I've talked about it before, and I want to talk about it more as my uncle. He's continuing to go to homeopaths, and this is outside of the States, and he's not getting medical treatment, and he's most likely going to die, and it's happening slowly, and it's painful, and it hurts to see.
Yeah, totally, man. I understand that, man. I remember I was actually going to reference that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
just in case Eric forgot, or
no, well,
sorry,
not everybody watches all the shows.
My humor is too dark.
That's okay.
Like I said, I just wanted to share that, and I appreciate the time. Y'all are cool.
Thank you. We think you're cool too. I feel like I did take a lot away from Jamie. Jamie, is there anything else?
Well, I just wanted to say that what's a shame is that the people that believe they actually have magic to use tarot cards or throwing, bones or whatever, are usually bad at it. Like psychics that are good at being psychics know why you use tarot cards and palm reading and get a properly made crystal ball and all of this, because it helps them do that, right? There's a reason they say con artist, because there's an art to conning people. Yeah. That's why I do something
like
legitimate.
It's all like a performance in a way.
It is. Yeah. We actually got somebody in the comments for this show was saying you don't see witch doctors in emergency rooms. That's only partially true, because when things get real bad, they send the chaplain in. And if that happens and I'm in dire straits, I will chuck my bedpan. I think that there are people who try and make exceptions for their little magic, but
I just, there are people that just say, oh, I just read the horoscopes because they're fun, right? And I don't know, I don't want to get into, clicks on a website is also supporting it.
Yes.
There's only so much you can ask from people, right? Give half of your income to providing clean water for children that don't have it, right? But someone in the comments said, you never see fortune tellers winning the lottery. It's like,
somebody...
what fortune tellers?
All right, man. Well, we're going to move on to the next call, but thank you for calling. Thank you for being a fan. You know how to get a hold of us, right? Should we do it again? Should we?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right, cool.
Yeah, I got it. It's all good. Órale.
All right, ándale pues. I'll talk to you later, man.
Okay, adios. Well, I don't know about that.
No? You get in touch with us on, email us. We will respond.
I thought we were cool.
Yeah. No worries, brother. Take care.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said that, and I knew that last one. I knew it.
All right, so who do we want to talk
Is on first.
You know, we actually had somebody that say that the curanderos, they charge an arm and a leg. I thought that was good. That was good. Who do you want to take? Kendall in Seattle, Washington. You took too long.
Yeah.
You are live with Eric and Jamie. How's it going?
Hi, guys. I'm good. How are you?
Hey, Kendall. I'm so good. I'm so glad you called early. Last time we
Marvelous.
had almost no time to talk to you.
Yeah,
And
well, that's
I know.
right.
I have a tendency of doing that.
we have
I'll
time.
try and not ramble this time.
No, well, we have
Oh, yeah,
time. We
bring
can
it.
talk to you.
We also have a lot of open
My,
lines, so
Oh, yeah, but before we do that,
good.
do you want to
say the phone number.
Yes.
512-686-0279. That's 512-686-0279.
512-686-0279.
686-0279.
Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man.
I was gonna.
Okay, Kendall, go ahead.
Okay. So my question is, do you feel that it's important to be well-versed in Scripture in order to reject religion?
No.
And let me preface
Scripture?
by
Yeah,
saying,
go ahead.
I do think it's important if you're going to be actively debating about the Bible itself. But like myself, I'm not super, like I was raised with a Catholic mother and a Christian father.
Okay.
And so they never could decide on a church to take us to. So I wasn't raised like super indoctrinated, but I went to Mass on all the major holidays, and I know the Lord's Prayer by heart, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But so I'm not super well versed on the Bible, but I do think that I have heard enough ridiculous claims that I don't think it's unreasonable for me to reject it. But I wanted to know your thoughts.
I think that your final statement where, I've heard enough ridiculous claims that... Okay, all right, sorry. I was gonna not burp into the mic because Vern can strike me down.
He's going to strike me down for doing that.
Yeah,
with my jacket.
I have
that.
no doubt that Vern could just play like ear-shattering sound into my ears. All hail Vern.
What are the levels of your sound?
Yeah, but I like Vern because of good things that he does, and never mind.
Vern, for those of you who don't know, is our audio engineer.
Yeah.
And he's listening to us and making sure that everything's coming in loud and clear, and we appreciate that. Go ahead, Jamie, sorry.
Yeah. So, I think that just listening to what people say about the Bible and how, I don't know, pick your favorite way that people talk about it. Yeah, that they haven't provided any evidence. In defense of it, they tend to take things from the way in which historians figure out when a document was written. They compare it to other documents, and they say, because they've compared it to other documents and know that this is when it was written, therefore they know that it's true, and they do that to say that's how it's historically accurate and all this crap. But
Right.
I would say it doesn't hurt to be aware of Scripture. No one should demand that you know Scripture because, I don't think anyone should be forced to do that to themselves. But, cruel and unusual punishment, whatever, right? Eighth Amendment. But I would say it's helpful because one of the things that I like to be able to say is, no, ignorance of Scripture is not the reason that I'm an atheist. Knowing Scripture helped reaffirm that this is all fucking bullshit. Although I don't usually say that to a person if I'm handling them gently. So.
Right.
Yeah, so when it comes to scriptural knowledge, I can give you a couple things from experience. Number one, it takes a whole lot of time. Number two, you're not going to remember everything. Number three, they're going to expect you to have things memorized. So if you don't know scripture and verse, you're boned anyway.
We should have little cards that have the citations.
Right?
Sell those.
Well, to me, kind of like I already reject the biggest premises of the Bible as far as there was a man that rose from the dead. I see no sufficient evidence to believe that occurred. And it's the main things like that that I feel it's not unreasonable for me to reject religion or the existence of God. And the same thing is if I point out, hey, I know that the Bible says this horrible, terrible thing, and somebody comes back with, well, it also says this light and fluffy thing. Well, I'm sorry, that's a contradiction, and that's still not good enough for me.
Yeah, they don't cancel each other out. Yeah. They're just both in there.
Exactly.
The one that I like is the real Scripture.
Well,
it's kind of like someone describing an abusive spouse. It's like, oh, but they're so nice sometimes.
Totally.
Yeah, but you are bruised. Sorry.
There are people, if you want to get into debates, there are a couple different things that you do got to keep in mind other than just reading the scripture. Because when I read King James Version, I was told after I read King James, no, that's the worst of them all. You really got to read NIV. And so I read the New International Version, and they said, no, you got to read ESV.
Who told you NIV was...
They all have a reason why you read the wrong version.
Oh, yeah, and then you didn't understand it because you didn't have the Holy Spirit there to translate it for you. And then on top of that, you have people who are willing to talk to you about it, but they say, oh, well, I'm versed in hermeneutics, and I'm versed in, what's the other word? Come on, chat group, tell me, hermeneutics and what?
We're lazy. Do our skepticism for us.
Yes. Basically, the idea is the verse doesn't say what I want it to. So I'm going to go back through the different languages that it's been translated into and find a version or a possible other descriptor in its definition so that it can mean exactly what I want it to. So you can read almost anything into almost any scripture. And exegesis. Exegesis. I didn't look at it. It's exegesis. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, you're okay. I'm sorry. The same people who are interpreting one verse to mean that death means, going to hell are the same people who are, interpreting that in a different verse, death means actual death. And it's like, how do you differentiate between the two? It's because you want to make sure that everything lines up with what you want it to say, and that's not the reality of it.
No. But so they think that it does. So what I think the benefit of learning scriptures is, there are some people who will not talk to you unless they're talking about scripture. And so there are a couple places where having an understanding of those things helps, but at the same time, you can remove that and still have very meaningful conversation. And so if it's something that interests you, definitely check it out. It is boring. It is so boring.
God,
it is so bad.
You said that.
It is dry.
I downloaded
and it is
a Bible app.
Yeah,
I downloaded a Bible app the other day because I was like, you know what? I should just start reading it so that I have these things in my back pocket. And I tried and I started and I was like, I can't fucking do this.
Okay, so benefits. Skeptics Annotated Bible. If you get it, if you get the if you get the online version, you can search for things, and that's really, really helpful.
Oh, okay.
Number two, I would say there's some really great podcasts. Thomas in the Bible comes to mind. I actually listened along with that. Also, if you're looking at other holy books, there are a ton of really great resources for the Book of Mormon. And if you really want to see somebody who loved them some King James Bible, take a look at the Book of Mormon, because it is straight out of King James. It's amazing.
Also, if you want to just hear people make jokes about stuff in the Bible, some people enjoy the comedy stylings of the Bible Reloaded, but I don't know that you've ever seen those.
Okay.
So
I've seen a few.
Hey.
I've seen a few.
some people that are not
Yeah.
Eric enjoy that.
Well, yeah, I mean, and another thing too about as far as like not being super educated on scripture, something that Tracy Harris said on, I believe it was the last episode of AXT, that I really thought was interesting was, I think they were talking to Victor right after he had talked to you guys, and they basically told them like, okay, if you know this is what you really believe, why aren't you talking to scientists about this? And then once the scientists are like, you know, in accordance with your views and say, oh yeah, he was right, the Earth really is flat, like then I will accept that. I kind of like that.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell someone the best recipe for, you know, a souffle if I've never cooked one. Even if I watched a YouTube video that told me that the souffle was a conspiracy by Big Globe to...
Okay, yeah, this is getting real out of, real far out in the weeds real quick.
Yeah, that's why I ended it there. I thought
That was good.
Yeah.
Kendall, is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Saying that the internet is not always true?
Oh, no, of course not. Everything, even the parts that contradict, they're true. You just have to use exegesis and
hermeneutics.
Mm-hmm.
I can't forget about hermeneutics.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is I actually had a really long conversation about hermeneutics with an apologist, and I was asking him because he kept coming back with all of these different translations, and I said, "What tools are you using to be able to decipher what is going on?" And he said, "Oh, it's exegesis and hermeneutics." And I said, "Okay, can I use that? Can I use those tools to come up with the same answers? Because if I can, I'd like to." And he said, "Let me get back to you." And then the next week he said, "You know what? No, I don't think you can." And I said, "Well, why is that? How come I can't use the same tools you're using?" "Well, because they're not going to come out right."
And why is that?
Because you get to read whatever the heck you want into the only book that you're saying matters. And it's special pleading. It's giving yourself the excuse to be able to do whatever you want, and everybody else has to follow other rules. It's the same with any other precept. So,
Yep.
don't know.
All right.
I mean,
It's like when one sibling tells another sibling, but Dad said so, so you have to do it. Well, why aren't you doing it? Because I'm bigger. Do it, right?
Yeah.
Even if Dad never said it. It's just the same.
you know what? That actually makes me think about the different religions that fight each other, because it makes me think my dad's bigger than your, like my dad could beat up your dad.
My God can beat up your God.
Yeah, you didn't even know. Yeah.
100%.
They don't
All right.
worship God, they worship Allah. Sorry.
Well, thank you for calling in, Kendall.
Yeah,
really
thank
appreciate
you.
it.
We enjoy
And,
your calls pretty much every time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
You take
Have
care.
a great day, you guys.
You too.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. That was nice.
Yeah,
I hope
I
that I
like
was.
that call.
I hope that I was able to give enough that she didn't feel like she has to read the Bible, because that's the experience that you're going to get.
Yeah.
It's boring, it's time consuming, and people are going to discredit you no matter what. You didn't read the right
Some
one. You didn't have the Holy Spirit in you. You are intentionally misinterpreting. You're taking it out of context, and they put it in context and say, "No, it's a bigger context." And then once you prove that it's wrong, then all of a sudden it's an analogy. It's no longer what actually happened.
Yeah.
It's poetry, and
You don't know everything. Maybe that was for
you get
the
mired
good
in
of
it, and it's
everyone.
brutal.
Maybe it was good that God ordered genocide. Even as an allegory, somehow that's good.
You know what?
Genocide, kids. Sometimes, sometimes God says do it.
We call the show Talk Heathen because we're kind of owning that whole take your slaves from the heathens among you. We've got to
Can't
find
take our slaves.
We've got to find somewhere
We
to
don't
fit
have
in
any.
the Amalekites. We gotta get that.
We
I'm
can.
not sure.
You know what? We should sell like official Amalekite wristbands or something, and then that's like the hardcore heathen fans.
But our heathen fans are heathens.
That's true, but
right?
they're Amalekite
Heathens and sheathens. We appreciate you. We love you.
and
we're
non-beathens.
There we go. We're gonna move on. Janet, how's it going? You're talking to Eric.
Janet.
Hey.
Hey.
Are my two favorite heathens.
Yeah.
Marvelous and flattered.
We're actually doing really good. We've got a live studio audience. We haven't even.
Acknowledged yet.
Yeah. Hey,
Hi,
everybody.
guys.
Oh, yeah,
We can
yeah.
still see you.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, we actually filmed this live out of the Free Thought Library in Austin, Texas. What's the address here?
1507 West Koenig Lane.
If anybody-
Austin, Texas, 78749.
Wow, that was really good. Yeah, if anybody who's watching ever is in the Austin area and wants to catch a show, we'd love to see you. So,
And I would
sorry,
love
Janet,
to,
that was super off topic, but I just wanted to kind of throw that in there while I remembered.
and I would
no,
love to
fine.
try and show you around Austin. Also, sorry for talking over you just then, Janet.
Okay, Jamie, we're used to it. I had to get mine in there too.
Burn! So,
It's okay.
Love you, Jamie.
Yeah.
So I was actually going to kind of continue, since the show's about continuing conversations, a little bit about the indoctrination topics that we've had before. But one of the things I haven't, really revealed about my past was that when I was a teenager, we moved into a house where really weird things happened. And, being that I was pretty much always skeptic, I just dismissed them as things that, just part of the house being old and then, those kinds of things just happened. But my sisters and mothers were convinced that the house was haunted and that there were these spirits in it. And they kept trying to convince me that, these things were, being done, that they weren't just coincidence or weren't just bad wiring or a drafty house or whatever. So my sister did what any, good Christian shouldn't do and go buy a Ouija board. And my mother
She did?
had a cow.
A Ouija board?
She did. She went and bought she went to Toys R Us.
uh-huh.
And I think it was about $8, I think, and bought the Ouija board. And she came home very secretive, because Mom couldn't know that she had this,
Yeah.
that she could talk to the spirits. And, and I was like, I was curious. I said, well, let's drag it out and see what happens. And it was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So my sisters are all totally, buying into it. And I'm sitting there going, you realize that this is all, BS, right? And they didn't. They totally bought into it. And then eventually they told my mom a couple of days ago, later that they had done this. And she was like, oh, we must destroy it. We had to, they actually had a burning ceremony where they burned it, which then, they found out later that wasn't what you're supposed to do. And that was a whole other thing. But apparently you're supposed to bury it for anyone out there who's unaware of what you're supposed to do to rid the, demons, that you're supposed to bury it.
Wow.
Anyway, so in this house, lamps would turn off and on, the phone would ring, but there'd be nobody there. You'd hear knocking on doors, things like that. But, all of those things, even if they weren't easily explained, doesn't mean therefore God, or therefore spirits or supernatural. And so I would tell them, I'm like, it's an old house. The lamps going off and on, bad wiring. The, phone ringing, it was a weird ring. Again, it was bad wiring. And the knocking, quote unquote, was most likely drafts, because it was a drafty house. But my mother kind of got somewhat fanatical with it, and she ended up seeking advice from our pastor, who decided that they needed to bless the house, which of course, carries a fee.
Of course.
And so it's all as ridiculous as it sounds. It was 3 years of my life where every bump or, noise in the house for those 3 years was attributed to spirits. And anytime I tried to tell them that it wasn't spirits, and by the way, they don't like to be called ghosts, apparently, because, according to my mother.
Oh, you don't want to offend the ghost.
I mean, that's
you couldn't
a
offend the ghost, 'cause it'd be a
slur
word,
against
yeah. Right. I was told
otherly
that it was a
bodied
demon.
peoples.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I was being told that it was a demon that was telling me to say these things. and that I was being influenced by these powers in the house, and I guess that's just more of the damage that was done by indoctrination I wanted to talk about, because I wanted to convey that this isn't something that you just see in movies, that there are people who really believe these things, and they force them upon their kids. And I can honestly say that I was damaged by it, because I still to this day will hear, in my mind, the times when I was told that, I was being influenced. But more so, I wanted to say that, it damaged my sisters, because they still believe it. And one of the things that was, I guess, being a teenager and being quite the rebel, I finally said, since I can't beat them, I'll join them. And I started making up things to go along with the narrative.
Sinner.
And, so
Sinner.
okay, they're saying there's a spirit named, Joseph, then I'll make up a story behind him and say that I discerned it. Mm-hmm. And they really thought that I could do that. And they totally bought into it. Mm-hmm. And, I feel bad about it now, but at the time I was like, well, this is just ridiculous. So if they're going to believe me, whatever, and I just did it. But I kind of feel bad because now my sisters still believe it. And even last week, my sister contacted me. She texted me and said, there's a shadowy figure in my house. What do you think it is? And I'm like, turn on the lights and it'll go away.
Yeah.
A shadow?
And she's like, no, seriously. I see it all the time. I'm like, it's a shadow. So I'm no longer trying to, fool them like I did back in the day. Yeah. But I think I kind of blame myself because I shouldn't have given into it back then to further their beliefs that these things were real. So now what do I do to fix the damage I did?
So you're blaming yourself for something that you don't have.
I tend to do that a lot.
Yeah, don't put that on yourself, because the fact is that was not an isolated thing. You, just like so many people, grew up in a culture where people actually think they have superpowers. That's amazing. Who doesn't want to have superpowers? You're not to blame for somebody not being rational. The best that you can do is move forward. You were a kid. Don't lose a single wink of sleep on that, because that's just owning something that's not yours. Let that go. Really.
Do you think I should tell her though that that was all BS from before?
Yes.
You can tell her that. Yeah.
Tell my sister that?
I would say there's actually, you know what? I may try and find the clip. I think it's on Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, where they did a history of the spiritualist movement that started in the 1800s. Because it started primarily with these two sisters and the way they did it is they could pop the knuckles of their feet. So they would say like, oh, if there's a ghost here, give us a signal that you're here. And then one of them would pop the knuckles of their toes, and it must be a ghost, right?
I kind of did a similar kind of trick, to be quite honest, because I knew that if I stepped on this one certain board, that the light would flicker. So I kind of did that, but it was just because, after years of it, I just kind of was over it, and they weren't listening, so I was like, okay, fine. So yeah. I knew about the kind of parlor tricks.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
Magicians are pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I was not that good at it. I think I could only fool my sisters and my mother. I don't think I would be convincing to anyone, literally anyone else. But, but to them, they bought it.
Well, you can actually say a whole, so what's funny is Jamie and I were actually talking this morning about if we were to toss our morals and ethics completely out the window, how we could...
How much of this conversation are we going to repeat on the air?
Would you like to, just in case I say something I'm not supposed to?
No, you're fine.
Yeah, we could theoretically, we could theoretically turn around and be like, oh, hey, now we understand Jesus, and we could get talking gigs and probably do pretty well for ourselves as far as careers are concerned.
Oh, of course, yeah.
There's a lot more money in churches than there are.
We would have to marry devout women, probably, relatively.
fun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's the thing
XK,
is that
give me your money.
that's a
Well, I was
thing.
watching actually this morning before the call. Is probably one of the reasons why I called. Was I was watching The Honest Lie with James Rand, the Amazing Randy, and I was watching that, and that's basically what they were talking about. It was like, if you lose your moral ethics, would you charge for these things? And that's what he took offense to. And it was, I never did anything like that to try to, like, in fact, it upset me when the preacher charged to come bless our house, quote unquote, because that bothered me, because he was taking advantage of my mother. I mean, and I recognized that even back then, even as a child who wasn't even admitting to myself that I was an atheist yet. But I took great offense to that. I'm like, this is such bull, and he's taking my mom's money.
Yeah. There's a show that was on Hulu a while back. I'm not sure how many seasons it had, called something crap. It had a name.
Crap, writing it now.
It's called Something Crap, and it's about this person who is a con artist, effectively, and they sell BS stuff left, right, and center. And they, they bump into like these gypsies, and there's interact with gypsy culture, and some of those people are also con artists or whatever. I know that they're Roma. In the show, they call themselves gypsies. Shouldn't use their term.
Roma self, yeah.
Whatever. Sorry, I was reading into Eric's staring me down. Whatever.
No, I'm
of
actually overheating in this, and I'm considering in my mind the implications of taking this off and exposing the green shirt and the punishment.
Eric,
that,
I do want to say
our AV
that
people
from a viewer's point, you very reminiscent of Edward in Twilight. Yours very sparkly.
Is that a good thing or bad?
I'm just going to throw it out there that you're very sparkly, and that's not a bad thing. The books, and movies, not so much, but Eric looks nice, very sparkly. I mean, it could almost be a green disco ball.
So sparkly, shiny.
Thank you for that. I'm just going
have
to
a little mini rave right there.
I'm just going to just.
Does that mean the rest of the show is mine?
Yes. Okay. But I actually do. Well, is there anything else I wanted to talk about?
Yeah. What else you got?
No, I appreciate your words there. I really do appreciate, because I carry some guilt from that time. So, and my mom's gone, so it's not like I can clear things up with her.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it.
If it helps at all before you leave, it's a different situation, but I feel a whole lot of guilt for a disproportionate amount of guilt, I know, but I still feel it just for failing to do stuff with people that are close to me, failing to reach out and help them. And now there are people that I know that now believe some things that I wouldn't have thought
I have
possible.
no idea what you're talking about.
So there's a person that's close to me that now doesn't believe that evolution occurred, or that historical figures, their entire motivation, if they're good, is God, and it has no relation to anything else. Like people that improved society, like Gandhi was very clearly led by Jesus, even though he didn't know it. And it had nothing to do with India. No, nothing to do with the injustice. It was just Jesus. And I've tried to be like, what do you even mean? Like, he did things in India. Clearly it's related to India. No, just Jesus. Like, it's to the point where they're not making sense, and that kind of thinking is showing in other things that they think. That kind of thinking is showing in the way that they come to conclusions about politics as well. It's really, really frightening.
Yeah.
That's welcome to my family. That's my entire family. They give credit for anything good, no matter if you did it as an atheist or not, to God. And they say, well, God's working through you, whether you accept him or not. And I'm like, oh, no.
Is God working through my hand when I raise this finger?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But so I realize what you're talking about there, and it's sad when It's sad when people can't take the credit for themselves for the good works that they do.
It's the mental equivalent of watching someone's physical condition slowly deteriorate when they have a terminal illness.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
Janet,
I assume. Sorry, that's insensitive to people.
I think we're going to move on to the next call, but thank you so much for calling in. We really
Thank you.
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
of
You're
course.
amazing. We love you.
You are too, and speak to you both later. Love
You're
guys.
more than
Bye.
amazing. You're Janet.
Yeah.
That was cheese.
That was
cheesy.
super, super cheese.
All right, we have to end the call. Jamie made it dark and started talking about terminal illnesses.
Which is why we're going to move on to one of our favorite people,
Hey!
Phil in North Carolina.
Phil!
So for those of you fans who don't know, Phil is the amazing artist who's been doing the animations that have been before
He's
the
the
show.
one that helped us defeat the aliens you saw at the...
Absolutely. And gave Jamie a cigar, which I thought was interesting. Hey, Phil. How's it going?
Hey guys, how the hell are you?
Marvelous.
Very good to be hearing from you, man. How are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm the hell fine. I just wanted to touch on a couple of things. Like when I was a kid, I heard Arn Ra speak about empathy being hardwired into the human brain, and it must come at different levels, or we wouldn't have sociopaths, for they would seem to have none except for themselves. But I think I might have had an overage of it. I used to cry when I was like 4 or 5 years old when my brother or sister would get a spanking and beg for them not to be spanked, even if it was something they'd done to me they were being spanked for. I never understood that. It was just there. And then when I was 5 and sitting in church, I hear this, they taught us little kids in Sunday school about Jesus, the old bright side of Jesus, and how good he was, and he loved all the little children. Well, then I'm sitting in the main part of church, and the preacher's talking about all the horrible things they did to this man they had just recently taught me was so loving and kind, and well, that just ripped my heart out. So here I am, 5 years old, bawling like a 5-year-old, and heading to the altar, because that's what I'm shown I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I was crying because of how horribly this man I was told existed was treated when he loved everybody and was so kind to everybody. And I think it was the empathy that was a very good draw into all that and sealed my indoctrination pretty well. And it took 40 years to get rid of it, it took 7 actually. The last 2 years I've totally convinced, but 7 years is when it all started, when I was 45. But 40 years of pretty much writing it fairly hard. I sang bluegrass gospel in about every church I ever went in, and went into some strange ones, I'll tell you. But I believe that the empathy locked me into it. And I wonder, doesn't everybody have different levels of it?
Yeah, I agree, right? So you said the people with, psychopathy, that's a kind of extreme case, but I agree, right? Like it's the thing about religion. The reason that it causes problems is that it puts something above caring about other humans, right? There's lots of things that do that. Religion does that systematically because it tells you there's someone/something that's way more important than anything else. And in my head I was forming this metaphor that's like indoctrination will sneak up on you. You walk through the grass and you're having a good time and you let your feet be free, but indoctrination is a snake. And if you're not looking for it deliberately, it will sneak up on you and you won't know that it's there if you're blissfully going through life until it bites you real hard, right? And it doesn't, it makes people do lots of weird things.
Yeah.
Beliefs inform actions, and unquestioned beliefs that put humans below what you should care about are dangerous.
Do you know what really kills me? What really kills me is the cognitive dissonance of somebody who is very empathetic, as you're describing, who can piece together. And I know I was one of these people, and that's part of what scrambles me is people who think that their God is all loving both want you to grieve the torture and murder of their Savior and at the same time think that it's part of their God's plan for people who have been captured and tormented for decades, right? And so subject to things that I would not feel comfortable bringing up. I mean, just horrendous acts. There are people who live their life in torment and pain. There are people in other countries who starve slowly, and all of those things are part of their God's plan. And we got to feel real bad about Jesus, you know. It
You'd have to see me, but if my body were the result of intelligent design, I think my designer was on some sort of drugs.
Jesus juice, perhaps.
But I think empathy creates it's like you swallow a pill, but if you swallow a pill that's got spikes sticking out of it, it's going to stick in a hole somewhere. And I think that's what a high level of empathy can be like with the indoctrination. It sticks really well. I never really debated the point. No one ever really questioned it where I'm from. They're everywhere, you know, and there are fewer of those who don't believe than there are of those who do. And
this whole
we're well surrounded. And I'm in a small town here in Dumpwater, North Carolina, and getting together a community of atheists would probably be suicidal. The next town over has the KKK still alive in it, so it's not easy to be an atheist in this town.
Well, no, and the KKK, unfortunately, is more alive than I think people realize. But
Phil?
Oh, yeah.
Phil?
They've just gotten better at hiding. Yeah.
No matter where you are, no matter how alone you feel, we're there for you. And I can guarantee
Well, my wife's catching on. My wife's catching. She's getting there, and she's questioning more and more, and I can just see it scaling away. And, I mean, I don't debate her about it. If someone says something obvious on TV, she catches it. So, you know.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's how it starts, right?
Oh, well, we've tolerated each other for nearly 18 years now.
Tolerated isn't.
And, no cyanide in my coffee yet, so all is well.
Yeah.
But, and I think it made it very hard, that empathy that I felt about the character of Jesus made it very hard to start peeling it away. Even though it may have been easier had some atheists come up and said, "What, are you crazy?" Or, at least I might have questioned it more. But you just fall in with the cult, and I think all religions are cults to some degree. It's not to a total degree. But it makes it
what
hard
the big
to
church calls the small
realize.
church.
Yeah, it makes it hard to realize, because if it's all you've ever known, and from people you trusted who didn't know any better and trusted people for them, blah, 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 then, it just seems like it's right. And everybody else that doesn't believe it must be off their nut,
Yeah. Of course, everyone I know believes this, and the people that don't, they're just weird outsiders. Those others over there, they're not like you and me. I would say it's interesting to note that one of the things that motivates people to be atheist activists and not just doubt is learning that religion really fucking harms people all the time. So no illusions is anyway, but.
And when I saw Seth Andrews had the video about Christianity made me talk like an idiot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got that one real quick. Yeah, that's exactly. Man, I didn't realize what an idiot I was till I heard that. But you look back and I've heard Matt talk about he wasn't any more intelligent, but I understand when someone feels that way, because it's an epiphany-like feeling to realize what is real and what you've been handed all your life. And I think some of them kind of overboard with that arrogance. Some do, and some don't. Some realize, well, like I try to realize, I was at it for 40 years. Who am I, to give anybody a hard time or look down on them?
Right, yeah. It's
I think
helpful
that's what I like
remember.
about you guys. You don't really, you guys don't really do a whole lot of trashing, and I like that. You catch more flies. And
You've never seen our rap battles.
And I actually have been, I've actually been getting less patient with people, and I don't know how to feel about that, because that's not the way this show is, and so I've lost my patience a couple times, and I'm just...
Gotta go back to med school.
Oh, don't get me wrong. If I was out in public with it, I'd probably lose mine quite often. I can hold it here in print. I can type it and say, no, I better delete that. You don't get that once it comes out of your mouth.
But Phil, I think we're going to move on to the next caller. We only have a couple minutes left. Phil, we love you, man.
Just real quick. Do you want a wavy armed inflatable guy in an animation soon?
Yes. Yes, we do.
I can do that. Get you some tinfoil hats too, if you'd like.
Yeah.
One for
gosh.
him. I'm good.
Okay.
You take care, brother.
You just don't
All right.
want that
And
so
tell
much.
Janet I said hi.
Oh, will do. Yeah.
Will do.
All right. Bye, guys.
Thanks for calling in, Phil.
Okay, so we have one more call.
You don't want a tinfoil hat?
No, I don't. And I actually want to get a little bit of space right now because I have an important thing to say that is completely not related to the show. Happy birthday, Mom. You just had it a couple days ago. I love you. I appreciate you. For those of you who have been watching the show for a long time, it's that mom, the one who called in, the one who's gotten more compliments from anybody than anything else we've done in this show. And you deserve
Way more
it.
than you.
I love you. Happy birthday. We do have a really awesome call that
You
dropped.
are a nice lady. Happy birthday. It's your happy birthday. I hope your birthday's happy. Happy birthday. I don't know any of the lyrics to the song. We're gonna cut this.
Yeah.
We had that call. Dang it.
That's okay. You know what? That's okay. I think we're ready to. So if you want to get to know more, mail us. mail@talkheathen.com. You can find us on Facebook.
Okay.
Facebook.
And if we make it to 5,000 and you don't want me to, because we didn't get any, then you want me to not twerk, that's also an option. Whichever one you want will happen if we get it, and whichever one you don't want, well, whatever. I don't know. I need to leave this behind.
I'll take some.
No, hang on.
We'll
It might
definitely
be-
take suggestions.
We may be getting the
if we
call
do
back.
have something rather
Don't
totally embarrassing that you want us to do when it comes to. No.
Okay, sorry. I was just, you were wrapping up, and I was like, no.
If there's something super embarrassing you want us to do, definitely.
Eric will do it.
I will do it. I will do it.
See, this
donate.
is why you have to
It's been made a whole lot shorter. Donate goaxp.org. Please send us to the convention. You guys talked about Seth Andrews. Seth Andrews is going to be there. He doesn't know that we exist. Seth Andrews, please. I want to meet you. He's such a cool guy.
Send this clip to him. I think actually he has a Twitter. I'll tweet it out.
Yeah?
I'll tweet.
Do.
People on Twitter use the hashtag TalkHeathen, and then
Get him to get him to
I like
recognize
Twitter.
that we exist. That'd be cool.
It's the one place where I'm slightly less patient with people sometimes.
Well, where can people find you on Twitter, Jamie?
@reason_evidence.
And where can they find you on Instagram?
Jamie the Heathen.
They can find me at Eric the Heathen on Instagram.
No one asked you.
Yeah, I know.
Where can they find you on Instagram, Eric?
I don't want to tell you anymore. It's Eric
But
the
what if
Heathen.
they want to see your
It's Eric the
face?
Heathen.
right.
Facebook.
Talk Heathen.
YouTube, obviously.
Talk Heathen. Reddit.
r/
Talk Heathen.
Check out the website and let me know what else I can do on it.
TalkHeathen.com.
And
Oh, the call dropped
I
again.
think, yeah, it did.
All right,
So
here.
I think we need to get a little bit more love coming in. Are we
Yeah.
ready? We got the love rings going.
All
right.
I'm doing my own sound effects.
It's beautiful.
For whatever
It's
reason.
beautiful. So
All right.
for this week,
Wait, are we doing the? Do we have? Wait a minute. Do we have more announcements?
do we? I think we're good.
The ACA. Wait. Are we plugging?
Oh
No.
my gosh.
The ACA produces 5 shows: The Atheist Experience, Talk Heathen, The Preaching Humanists, Godless Bitches, and The Non-Profits.
We saw Matt Dillahunty walk in. This guy's going to be co-hosting the Atheist Experience with Matt
yeah!
Dillahunty a little later.
Tune in.
So check
it's
it out.
It's gonna be me again. And if you don't like me, watch Matt put me in my place. Maybe. I don't know.
And until next week, we don't hate you. We just
You're
think
wrong.
you're wrong.
I mean, wait. What?